thee, friends,
Hail thee.
and welcome
Welcome.
we welcome all thee to another Saturday morning Samoflange. Samoflange.
In the original French.
Because we're talking about A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh, good God. You're right.
Yes.
This one, what was the name of this one?
Midsummer's Night.
Is it called
A Midsummer Night?
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah,
And
it's
I
right
remember
on the
when I
cover.
brought it, it's the second time we've ever gone to, by the way, talking about Time Stories.
Time Story, spoilers,
Blue Cycle.
spoilers, lots of spoilers, all the spoilers.
Spoilers.
Spoiling it.
And I remember I showed you the box, and you're like, oh.
Oh, my God, Matt. It's
Yeah.
my Shakespeare training coming out.
It's Shakespeare coming out. And it is the second time we've ever been to alternate time.
Yes,
which
and
is
a totally alternate reality.
Which was the fantasy game.
Yes.
We played the first, which we all enjoyed. This one is Midsummer's Night, and in this one, we're basically living in a Shakespearean world now.
Yes.
Newly found character, and you knew the lores very well
Instantly.
because
I knew the story. It clicked immediately.
because we had drinking something from a cup, and Puck
Yes.
is laughing at us.
Yes.
And you said at the very beginning,
Yeah.
Puck is a trickster.
Yeah.
Puck is a trickster. We can't trust him.
Yeah.
And we go on. I mean,
And I should say, I studied English in college, and I haven't read A Midsummer Night's Dream since college. And for crying out loud, but it's one of the most famous Shakespeare plays. But
Yes,
it's a great comedy. The classic comedy that is you have the couples put together, and then the trickster plays a prank on them, and then you've basically got a third wheel, and two guys fall in love with the same girl, and then all this like hoopla happens, and then people are in masks, and they get mistaken identities. It's all the classic Shakespeare tropes.
and the tree of mask are there too.
Yes, of
So,
course. You knew masks were going to come into it.
Yeah, It's any Shakespearean fanatic would go crazy over this.
Absolutely. And
Because-
if you love Shakespeare, you just need to play this one game.
You can just play the one game.
just the
yeah.
one. It's a standalone altogether if you want to do it that way.
So we are mythical creatures from this realm. I'm a fawn, I think, or something. Or
Yeah, I forgot. What was
you're a tree. What's it called?
What
What are they called?
tree something.
Tree
something.
person.
Yeah,
But they're called
the
something
fae-
else.
No,
Yeah,
Nick was
some-
the Fae Fairy.
Yeah, the Fae Fairy.
I was an actual tree, I think.
Yeah, but it was called. It was called something. Whatever the
can't
tree
remember.
was. Yeah, I can't remember
feel
now.
Embarrassed.
But we all have our little, characters we play, our roles we play, our secret missions
from
are
the
back.
Enchanted Forest. Yes, and our secret missions were there.
And that's the thing about this one. This one again, and I should not. I know we sound like a broken record every time we talk about time stories, right?
It's just so startling. It's so startling to think you know something and then to be completely pulled the rug out from under you
Exactly.
over and over again.
Here we are at the 11th installment.
You have a lot of board games in this room where we record.
Yeah.
You have played a lot of these kinds of stories before. This is just, it's crazy how it keeps getting you.
A lot of these share the same mechanics. You're like, oh, I've seen this before. This is
Exactly.
like so
And that's what you expect.
True, there's a few games in here that are unique to its own type, but a lot of them follow a certain pattern. Now, Time Stories does follow some pattern where you're trying to unlock the mystery.
Sure.
But how?
How you got
And
there.
even after, because now interaction, we know interaction now. We
Yes,
know
we
that we're
learned
going to have to
that
talk to different
lesson,
people.
right.
We know we're going to have to get it right. We also know that we have secret missions.
Yes.
But this time, the secret mission is one and done, meaning you toss that card so that no one else can interact. So here's the deal. And we didn't,
that's right. We didn't realize it at first.
We didn't realize it at first. Because we made a mistake and we both interacted with the unicorn.
And the way it was worded,
You and I did.
was once you have done this, then
it said
wasn't
something.
discard,
It didn't say
it was-
discard. It said purge, or it said
It was something that was not clear at first.
Yeah, it wasn't as clear as first. But then we reread it, and then I realized I should not have interacted with the unicorn.
Right.
Because
Because it went badly.
says you, but yeah.
very
but
bad.
very bad. But here's the deal. It is a one and done no matter who touches it, I bet.
Yes, it's supposed to be. Once
And
it's
so,
been interacted with.
and
it's
so
done.
now getting your secret mission is a lot harder.
Yeah.
Because if someone went to a spot before you,
That's
you're
it.
not completing your mission.
Right.
And by the way, our mission, our mission was kind of similar in a way about trying to find true love. Our characters were in love. What was yours?
Yeah, mine was trying to fix the tree or something like that.
Okay, the family tree or whatnot. Yeah.
I can't remember now, but either way, it had to do with your character, though.
Yeah, but our characters were tied. But the thing is, our resolutions were not. Because then I went to go visit the unicorn.
Right.
And my options were different. So I decided to kill that mother heifer.
Right.
And I got dark power, turned evil for a bit.
Basically, in crude terms, my character's secret mission was to have sex with your character.
Yes.
If I remember now. Because you had carved your initials into a tree.
Into a tree, yes.
And then I realized, wait a minute, Matt, what's your character's name?
Yeah.
And then I realized it was the initials of the thing. And then
and that was my secret. I was secretly involved
and then
with
somebody got some wood, and then we fixed the tree.
Yeah, I got the splinters to prove it.
Got the splinters to prove it.
No, but it was good because it was a, then ditch the card or whatever it said. Whatever the word, it was a little weird.
But I got this power given to me.
Yeah.
And I flipped over my card and it said, now you can do this. If you have unlocked, like certain things said, if you have this power or if you have unlocked your secret mission, then you can do this now. And what was the worst timing of it all is that I unlocked my secret thing. I was the first one. I got it.
It was the very first thing we did, too.
The very first thing we did. And I was like, sweet, got it unlocked and everything else. The very next, I think Nick did something, and then we made the mistake of the encounter cards, like we were talking about. I was like, what happens if I talk to him?
Yeah.
And then Nick had talked to him, and then I went over there, ended up losing my power altogether. Completely had it stripped from me. And then the very next place we went, it says, if you have your power, you can do this, this, and this, and then you get it. Or if it's been taken from you, you can get it back. I missed it by like one frame or something like that. If I had gone to this one instead of that one first,
in certain orders,
I would have gotten it back. And it was just like, it couldn't have been worse.
So they took the interactions one step further.
I took it even further.
And it's one and done, churn and burn. And but we both interacted with the same character. It was an accident the first time. After that, whatever the wording was,
I got screwed.
We had to start purging the card.
Yeah, I got completely hosed.
But the setup was so different this time because now, I mean, we had the standard, here's the scene.
Yeah.
But we had the forest.
Like lay out the 5 cards.
And the forest is shuffled because they all look the same.
Right.
And so you couldn't find the same area. That was good.
Area, yeah.
But then there was 3 or 4 cards from this tall deck of the forest that we had to purge completely from the game.
Yeah.
Eventually, because they were one interaction and done.
Because basically we were lost in the forest, just like the characters in the play were.
Exactly.
They're lost in the
woods.
That's it. And
you can't find the same card.
We got super lucky though when we had to reshuffle the forest again. Like we got incredibly lucky. So because like I was talking about in the last episode, there are usually little hidden clues inked on the back, like in the illustrations and everything. And this was just like 5 trees, and that was it.
But another area, which I thought was really strange, because when I got it, it said read this card first before laying out the area. I was like, okay. And it was the rune stones. One card was in the center with the instructions, and all the cards were put around it. And it's an awesome game of memory, is what it turned into. Because you're flipping over these 12 cards or whatever, 2 at a time, but you're spinning more. But we decided to do it that way.
A new kind of puzzle.
But it was a new type of puzzle because we had to find the 2 that matched. Yep. And the longer it took,
the more we were
the more we were giving up things, and that was something different.
Yep, exactly.
And then, of course, probably the most brilliant one. It confuses at first, and then when we figured it out, we're like, "That's so smart."
Yeah.
The well.
The well.
We went into the reflection of the well and ended up on in the mirror world. So we're laying these out.
This little village, and it had a well in it, and then somebody looked in, and it was nothing, and then I looked in, or Nick looked in, and then boom.
It's filled with, there's a reflection that we jump into.
And we were transported to the mirror world.
Yeah. And so when you lay them out, the cards are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or whatever. Right. When you laid out the cards, it didn't work.
It was like, wait a
minute.
minute.
We're like, what is going on?
It's not matching up.
And I was like, this is A, this is B, this is C.
As you're laying down, we're like, no, it's backwards, Matt. And then he's like, as you lay down the last card, you're like, look, it matches this
F,
piece.
E, D, C, B, A. You put them backwards.
Genius. And the picture lined up perfectly.
And the picture lined up perfectly.
Otherwise, the picture was completely backwards and broken. And if you flipped it around, what?
I absolutely love that.
That's the kind of immersion that got us in the very, very first Time Stories, where it kind of not breaks the fourth wall, but it just adds another layer or something like.
But it made sense because it even said we were going to the mirror world or whatever, and I was like,
Those little details, man.
I love, and that's a simple thing to do. It's
And
a simple
but
thing.
in Star Trek or whatever, if you have a mirror universe episode, things aren't necessarily backwards. They're just alternate realities, you know. And this one, it was literally, the picture was backwards, just like a mirror would be. I was like, oh, come on. It was
and
just
so
terrific.
It was absolutely astounding because I was like, here we go again. That they've come up with different ways to lay out the cards. Like we saw the first one that we never seen before, the depths of the ocean.
Right.
And we thought, oh, that's really key.
Cool, yeah.
So what's next? A cave we have to dive down deep into, or a tree we have to climb up? That's my limited thinking.
No, I mean,
and then they say, no, we're going to shuffle a deck every time in a lost forest. We're going to put rune stones in a circle now. We're not going to do
seen either of those things before.
No, ever. And then we're going to have you, but we're not going to tell you.
Yeah,
you're going to lay them out A, B, C,
honestly,
D, E.
there was no reference to it at all, except for looking at the picture, and you're like, oh.
Wait, this goes here, this goes here.
It never gets mentioned. Like, nothing. It's just there.
No.
It was so good.
In fact, the cards are still titled A through E,
Yeah,
and if
A
you
through
put
E.
them out that way, you're thinking, why does this not look right?
Yeah, and then you flip it around, and then bam.
So smart.
Just
so
wonderful,
smart.
Wonderful design.
We have several challenges we have to do, several
Tons
hoops
of challenges in this one. This was tough.
Don Quixote to meet with the King Thorin.
Yeah, we had Don Quixote,
to find the golden helmet, to get to them to talk, to do this, to find this, to find the key, to find the thing, to fight the witches, to I mean, it was just, and it was one thing.
Travel the Yellow Brick Road.
And the thing is, I'm not very schooled on Shakespeare that much.
Sure.
But I'm sure all of these things.
Well, it ended up being not just Shakespeare. It ended up being great literature. Like, it was just literature. Like Don Quixote, and
of course,
all these other characters.
Well, I know their characters from different shows,
Yeah.
but I didn't exactly understand all of their stories from Shakespeare, but. Or any of these stories individually, but I bet someone who does is going to just knock their socks.
Yeah.
I have no
Somebody
qualms
who
that they
just graduated from English major in college, like, would be losing their mind.
I have no doubt they stayed true to every character in this one.
Oh yeah, it seems
I
to
have
be.
no doubt.
It seems to be.
A lot of it probably did go over my head because I'm just not that learned, I guess. But I'll be honest, I loved every minute of it. It's terrific. Again, and we were marveling about how it felt different because the thing that we marveled later on, when we found out that we should have burned your card when it was done.
Right.
Or no, it said return it. That's what it said. It said return it to the pool or something. We didn't know what that meant.
We didn't know what the pool was,
or something like that. It said return to the, and we didn't know what that meant. But it just say return to the box. Just say that.
Right.
don't give me something fancy. But the thing is, though, when I did mine, I went, wait a minute, were we supposed to take that one out? I went, I don't know. And I said, well, I don't know what this means. And I said, oh, you know what? You're right. Because it was
something that would have broken the story if you'd had gone first, and then I wouldn't have been able to do it. And that's how I knew. Because if you would have gotten that card first, I'm like, well, then that couldn't have existed anymore.
Yeah, because then you couldn't.
So if I would have gone there, it wouldn't have made any sense because it would have still existed. And then that's how we realized,
you have to get rid of it. But mine even said the same whatever weird phrase.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
But the thing was that I found was interesting. What if I'd have gone there? Just randomly, because we didn't know what the unicorn was there.
Exactly.
It's the woods.
What if you had gone there first?
Then you would have never achieved your goal, and we never would have known what it was.
Never would have finished.
So I'm thinking that one of y'all or one of us. No, because Nick achieved his.
Did he?
Nick, well, remember he found his mother's home.
Oh yeah.
And he knew. He said, "Guys, let me investigate," because he knew where. I didn't know where mine was, but maybe one of y'all interacted with someone, burned it, and didn't think much of it, but that was maybe mine. But I just thought now it's harder to achieve these personal goals. Mm-hmm. And I love that too. Love that too because you got a great reward. You should deserve it. But I also like how there was, it depended on who you spoke with that made you turn into a donkey.
Yeah, I couldn't
for a short time
because it was a total red herring. It was like we thought it was a sword in the stone sort of reference because wasn't it Excalibur sticking up out of the lake?
It was something like that.
It was like a lady in the lake.
Yeah, we need this.
And it was
this
King
is an
Arthur
item we can get.
It was the King Arthur story.
Yeah,
and it was clearly like Excalibur sticking out of a stone, sword in the stone sort of deal. And basically, all that happened was my head turned into a giant jackass and couldn't speak.
And we had to walk around trying to figure out what the formula was. And we found it.
All I could say was hee-haw. And then
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, hee haw, hee haw, hee haw, hee haw, hee haw," trying to emote with my hee haws.
I am Groot. I am Groot.
I'm
I
trying
am
to
Groot.
emote with my Groots.
Yeah, your Groots were coming out.
And it was terrible.
But we did find where we thought what the cure was, so we had to
Then
lead
I knew
you.
what the cure was, and I was like, "No, hee haw, hee."
Yeah. Hee-haw-hee.
And I was like very emphatic with my hee haws because we had to go back to the tombstone or something where death was, because that's the only way to reverse it. Was I had to do.
Oh, okay,
do
yeah, because you
death.
had been there
I
earlier,
had
and
seen
then
it, and it was in the
you
mirror
put the
world
pieces
in the
together.
village, and I was like, "Oh, that's how you cure this." And so I had to go back to find death or something like that.
But see, again, I even love that because we went to the Mirrorverse
you
the
went-
first time
yeah.
and didn't think anything
Didn't-
of
there
it.
wasn't- we didn't think to go back there, and I had to try to convince you with hee haws.
Yeah.
to
No,
go
no,
back.
no. Yeah, exactly. There was several little hidden clues in there. Like in the Mirror Universe really had a lot of the
Like
clues.
with the giant.
Well, with the giant
sleeping
was a
giant.
big clue.
Yeah.
And then he's not sleeping
Big
later
clue,
on
no
after
pun
you do
intended.
something because you
Right.
had an item.
Exactly.
But the be true to thyself, to thyself be
To
true,
thine own self be
To
true,
thine own
which is Shakespeare.
which is written above the arc
Yeah.
in the Mirror Universe, but it's too crumbled in the regular universe.
You can't see.
But that led to, I believe I knew which mask to pick from, or something.
Something at the
We
end.
found some clue off the. I was like, wait a minute, it's this because that's what it said on the archway. But the thing is, though, they don't connect these clues.
No.
The thing
You
is,
just have to
it's
see it and remember it.
but when you flipped over that Mirror Universe, it says the archway says to thine own self be true,
yeah.
or to whatever, and that's all. But that's all it said. But that sticks
But
with
it's very
you.
prominent.
They knew that would stick with you, and so when the time came to get whatever it was, the password, the whatever,
Sure.
because we found a bunch of now I can't remember how this clue ended. But
I
the
love
stag,
it. I love it that we can't remember.
yeah, the
how-
stag with the 5,
Yeah, that's
the,
right. You always
the
follow the white stag.
deer with the 6, the rabbit with the 4. But yeah, you always follow the white stag. The other ones are incorrect red herrings, even though they've seen, because you're supposed to keep them with you.
Yeah.
But you follow the stag, and then there's the clue. But it was so
And
smart.
if someone is well read in Shakespeare and literature in general,
Oh, they probably the most MVP.
just crush it. Like first go around, you would be able to solve it.
It was again like Estella Drive when
Yeah,
we
if
told
you
my
knew
wife.
if you knew
my
the
wife
murder
knew
mystery,
my
yeah.
wife knew the murder mystery. She went, yeah, they found all this outside by the pool in the grill. I was
And
like,
we were
wait a
like,
minute,
"How
where
did
were
you know this?"
How'd you know that? She went, yeah, because some person was there. He had his own handheld camera. I was like, that was in the.
Yeah.
Duh, where were you? We
So
needed
if
you.
we would have known that, then we would have aced
We would
that
have
one too.
crushed that one.
And I think similarly with this one, like if you know your literature, you would have had it.
And again, just like in Estella Drive, they were going for a particular group of people for
Yes.
that one, because that one kind of takes place outside the big timeline in a way. And this one, they're like, you know what? Let's get some Shakespeare people involved. I bet it probably did get a few people in.
And it gave me a great thrill. I was
Oh,
so
it did.
excited to,
Oh,
to
absolutely.
see all that stuff. It's great.
Absolutely.
There
So
was even like a Henry V reference in there, or a Richard III reference. It was
Yeah.
like My Kingdom for a Horse or something
Oh,
to
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
effect.
yeah.
And that's the giant Richard III, because he's willing to sacrifice all of his men for just give me a damn horse, like my kingdom for a horse. And I was like, oh, that's the line. And I couldn't explain it. I couldn't articulate it to you and to Nick, because like, no, don't you know? It's Henry the. Oh, forget it. Just roll. Or
But-
just give me the dice. Or
yeah,
whatever it was.
give me the dice, go whatever it is, just
Yeah.
let it roll. This game is so confusing at times, frustrating, because there got to be a time where something tragic happened to you. You turned mortal, and you lost your super special ability.
I did.
And you at first it says pull item whatever 42, and you're like, ooh,
Ooh,
and it
yeah,
says
42.
Congratulations, you're mortal. You
You're
had the
screwed.
weakest. And
Yeah.
by the way, you have your numbers, your
My stats or
power
whatever.
stats are all at a
All just
one.
one, as
they're,
low as
they're
they can
the
be.
worst they can be, and that's what it is.
Yep.
And at this point, it doesn't look like we can reverse that either. At least we haven't figured it out. Well, then we spend time aimlessly running around to each one. We can't figure out where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to do.
God, I'm embarrassed.
And then I realized that I had talked to one of the kings, king whatever, in one of the castles.
Sure.
And he asked if we had item whatever. And I said, guys, do we have item? And we looked, we didn't have
Didn't
it.
have it. It was me.
And it was you, your mortal
My
status.
actual character was item 42.
But the thing is, if you don't have item 42, you still
can't.
get something from him.
What?
So you felt, because remember, I got something
oh,
little.
you got something and you
Something
didn't realize
little.
that we did have
but I
item
thought,
42.
well, if we had 42, maybe we'd have something different.
Oh, No.
or two things
But
instead of one
because
item.
I had been turned into a human and made mortal.
And it didn't hit me till later on. I realized, wait a minute.
Wow.
What item is that? And I couldn't remember what item it was. I remember the king asking for an item. I said, did anyone have it? No. So then I said this, and my interaction got something else out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe that was all it was.
I think also it tricked me because it changed my character. I placed the card over my character, like on my little sheet. I put it over on top of my original character, so I just never looked at it again.
It's stats.
Yeah.
That's all we thought it was. It wasn't an item number anymore. It was just stats.
Yeah.
It's so smart to keep that thing hidden.
Yeah.
And you forget about it. And I was like, wait, just like the professor's tablet from the first one that we just didn't.
And then we had
disregarded.
a special riddle come up, or a famous phrase from Shakespeare that was like, "If mortal thy be," or something like that. And then we realized, oh, I'm mortal, and you were playing a fey person, and he was a fairy, or you were playing somebody else,
a fawn or something.
Yeah,
like that,
and I was playing a tree, but then we realized, no, I'm the mortal one. Oh my God! And
so the prophesied, the mortal one is you.
Yeah.
We introduce you to the king, who gives us the the helmet, who gives us the thing, to get Don Quixote to meet with the king, who restores our memory, and then tells us, why did you save those women?
And then Puck shows up, and we're like, oh, you bastard. Yeah.
And so he tricked us, and we did save these women, thinking we were doing great things.
Right.
Because remember, the tower, we couldn't get to unless you could fly. And the Fae
that's
flies.
right. He could fly, right.
And if we didn't have the Fae, then we'd have to use a ton of Azrak to save it. And there was tons of little special ways to save.
Special ways to do it.
One was in a cage. And I just let her out. Remember the Willow, the Mad Mardigan? She was just in the road.
Reference,
I said, what'd she say? She didn't call me a peck. So I said we let her out. Because I didn't know what she was doing in there. I said, well, let's let her out. And if we had to fight her, let's fight her. But, but they touched because it did. It was... There's a deserted road, and at the crossroad is someone in a cage.
Yeah.
And it's just like a page out of Willow. Right. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to test it out. Then I find it's a lady. I'm like, what's up, lady?
How you doing?
And then I asked y'all, said, should we free her? And like, yeah, sure. It's the first place we came to.
Yeah.
And, I love how, that's the other thing, death is sitting in the field. We forgot about this.
Just waiting
for
us.
And by the way, it's death.
Yeah.
It's the Grim Reaper. Mm-hmm. And so who's going to talk to him? I can't remember who we got to talk to.
Nick did.
Oh, Nick did. And he says, not yet. I'll see you later at the end.
Sure enough.
And then I remember I just looked at you both. I was like, well. Yeah, this is just bad. Because what do we do? But the thing is, though, he is, because the mask is the death mask.
Put on the death mask.
And
of course, he'll see us
now,
at the end.
He sees us. It's not an omen. It's just. I mean, it is in a way, but it's not a death omen.
For crying out loud!
And so he doesn't kill any of us, which I was convinced. I was convinced at that point when I see something that ominous.
In a way, I died, but only to be reborn. But either way,
I know. But how beautiful! So we fight these witches. We think that's it. No,
because then wasn't it.
There's one more thing, which we get the key. Which these two stupid cards that have been sitting there the whole time, we didn't realize there was an outline of a key there until I was like, wait, where do we go? Because remember, we searched around, what do we do with this key? But then it's sitting right there, but it's, something we just didn't realize, and under the moonlight or whatever, and there's probably some kind of reference.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably some other classic reference.
Shakespeare reference. Right?
Where you go there, and then it opens up, and we wake up in 19 or 1850, whatever, and we've just completed a Shakespearean play, and everyone's applauding us.
Yep.
And we're in costumes.
No, we were in the 1400s because it was when Shakespeare. 1400s. It was when Shakespeare was alive.
When Shakespeare was like, we are performing one of his plays.
We were performing one of his shows at the Globe,
and we don't know if we dreamed it all or what happened. So it is
just in an actor's haze, and you just.
It is a dream.
So it is a dream as per usual.
But we're in fake. I mean, you're in fake wood planks playing your wood character. I'm in fake whatever. We're in fake costumes of the real
Shakespearean
characters.
style.
Yeah, Shakespearean style costumes of the character we play, maybe just mask or whatnot. But at the same time, how'd you? And then we resolve the mystery early because we find the. Are you sure it was Shakespearean? I thought we had to find some guy. We found him immediately.
Positive, it was. Okay. It was like.
Okay, you remember it better than I do.
Yeah. I'm almost positive that it was.
I trust you. I trust you. But anyway,
we were just finishing Midsummer Night's Dream.
It ends at that point because you complete your mission, everything's done.
No.
So what? No, what do you mean no?
No, it kept going, didn't it?
That was the true end. But 3 times we thought, okay, well, now we had to fight the big battle at the end. It's a big witch battle. Nope. Because then King Theodoin needs to meet Don Quixote, and then we have to figure out the key. Then we have to unlock that to do this. And so there's so much going on. This is the one that has many twists. We're like, where are we going here? And you're going for a wonderful ride, and it's like the end of one of those. It's like at the end of Splash Mountain after they terrify you by dropping you off a hill. Then everyone's singing to you like, and that's how you feel after you've been washed out, chewed up, spit up. You had this amazing alternate reality adventure, only to end up on stage. Yeah. Getting applause.
Wasn't Shakespeare a scion or something like that? Wasn't he a scion?
I can't remember, something like that.
He started talking to us out of character. Or it was something in the greater...
Either he was possessed by one or he was one back in the day.
The meta story ended up like suddenly showing up. That was what I was thinking.
The meta story leaks in.
It was like we thought it was finished once we were finally on stage, but then the meta story leaked in with somebody taking over whoever was playing Shakespeare or somebody showed up. And then that led us into the next one. The next adventure.
It's so excellent. Now, B Squad update.
Oh, yeah,
here.
tell me.
B Squad had the same issues we had, moving around and around, trying to figure out what happened. In fact, they did a little bit worse on this one because someone did turn mortal, was pissed because they had tons of stuff. And like someone shot his dog, man. That kid was so sad.
Oh, man.
And then I just kept going, why don't we get that? They said, well, where do we go? I said, why don't we go here? And they went, okay. And I went, here. So that was the one clue I was going to give them to go back to the king. And they're going out, item 42. No one has item 42. I said, and then I had to stop it because we've been going around the board several times.
Because they didn't realize it was a human.
Stop. Yeah. And I said, read it again. No one has item 42. I said, look around. And then he realized, oh, this is item 42, being mortal. Yeah. And then they connected it. But he
was so upset. And then he realized that he was the key to completing the whole thing.
He was the key to completing it all. But the thing was, he was so bummed when that happened. What a cool twist,
though, to him. That's fun.
But to be honest, you had your power unlocked, too, and you were bummed.
Yeah.
And it's another neat little mechanism, another little trope in the game that they stuck in there to bring you down. But yet now you're the key.
Now you're the one who's progressing everything forward.
Yeah, you're the one that what's that Pixar movie a long time ago where everyone has powers but she doesn't, and her power is keeping the family together. It's not really powers.
I don't remember now.
Encanto. That's what it is, right?
Yes.
You're the Encanto girl who doesn't have an ability anymore, but you're the one that saves the whole movie. But honestly, how smart? How smart is that?
They did it again.
And I remember after this particular one that we sat back and we talked about this one because we had a whole it reminded us a lot of the third adventure, alternate time.
Yeah.
And how it was like you could do this again, play it again, get different. I mean, you got the best besides turning into a jackass and then later on being mortal. But to be honest, you figured out your mission at the very beginning.
Very, very beginning.
And how random was that? I mean, you think about the odds.
Yeah.
The odds of that are...
Because we could still choose whichever location we went to first.
Yeah. And we had no idea.
Just happened to pick.
These cards are identical, folks.
Yeah.
So there's no... I mean, but I loved that we got to see that little aspect, peek behind the curtain about how the mechanics worked on this one, how not only in the layout of certain scenes, but now on interactions they've changed it. Because I had multiple cards I had to interact with someone, and then I had a choice. With the unicorn, I had to choose either one or two of my other interaction cards.
Cool. Because
whether I wanted to do this or...
in the last story, it was like you only got that
one interaction card per... Yeah.
With the girl you were engaged to or whatever in the past.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, you're right.
But in this one, there were several different choices.
Multiple times.
And who knows? There may have been certain people that would have given you options. Yeah, there may have been certain people that
I had options with like Don Quixote.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, see, okay, interesting.
I had some with like Quixote and somebody else, and I just chose the one that I chose and then went with that.
And when we say that, folks, before then we were saying you interact with one specific card, but now inside of that card you have a choice.
Yeah.
And you had to pick card 8 or 12. And I love how it's not 8 or 9 or anything. It's like 8 or 1.
17,
one.
Right?
Yeah, 17. And so you're not going to be playing through that entire deck of interaction cards is what I realized. Because it kind of bothered me after first. I thought, why didn't I use all my interaction cards? Because some don't give you a choice.
Yeah.
While others do.
Wow.
And that is so... I mean, again, the onion just keeps getting peeled back.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, bravo. I mean, I'm the one giving this game a standing ovation.
Truly.
The Blue Cycle continues. Can we safely say it continues to impress?
Oh, absolutely. With
Yeah.
unanimous decision. Like the mechanics slightly changed, but honestly, it's just as much fun as the White Cycle. To me.
I agree.
I
because
had just as much fun
because we're seeing something new
every time.
every time, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
Every Saturday,
Morning.
Samoflange. To thine own self
Be true.